Hey, it's Rob here. Welcome to the third video in the build series for the CyBot 290 drone. Today we're going to mill the bottom plate and the arms. So let's go over the cam sequence here. The first thing is we're using a long reach flat end mill. The reason why it has to be a long reach is because it has to cut these arms down to length, and they are at least 12, it needs to be at least 12 millimeters of reach. Work home is the center, and like I explained on the last video, that is to line up the arm jig. Spoil board is at least 11 millimeters thick, and that is because these pinholes for pinning the parts down go down into the spoil board by 10 millimeters. So then we have a stop and a comment to add the pins for support. So once the then the outside square is cut. I'll just zoom it in a little bit. So then the outside is cut. Once that is done, we can just get rid of this for the time being. Okay, so first the outside is cut. These holes for the DJI O3 air unit are technically 1.6 millimeter, but 2 millimeter I find is perfect. It leaves just a little bit of play for things to sit in there perfectly. Then we have the arm mount holes, 3 millimeter diameter. And then we have the adaptive clearing. So before we go any further into this, I'll just describe a little bit about this. Okay, so these slots are for the battery mount strap. The battery mount strap just connects onto the bottom, wraps around, goes through the steel hoop around the battery, and then on this side it does the same thing. Just goes around the bottom plate and then down and onto the battery. Okay, when you're looking at the adaptive clearing, you'll see this section is cleared out. That is for the USB access to the O3 air unit. I've left this 3 millimeters without being cleared all the way out for strength. Now the very interesting thing about this, and I'm just going to catch a quick shot of the bottom of the O3 air unit just for any of you guys that haven't actually seen this before. So first of all, there, this has the screws already removed from the bottom, just so in case you didn't notice. The camera cover adds 0.1 millimeters to the height. And if you look at these mounting holes, you'll see that that mounting hole is so close to where that part of the bottom protrudes down that you won't even fit a standoff there. And this one is even better because the mounting hole is right on the corner of where it protrudes down. Almost impossible to put a standoff there. And then you've got the height of where it protrudes down. So in the file, there's a few contingencies here that had to be met. So you have to have enough room for the O3 air unit has to stand up high enough that there's enough room for the USB plug to plug into the unit. The front standoff has to be 0.1 millimeter lower than the rear standoffs to make up for the fact that the camera cover adds 0.1 millimeters to the height. Didn't have that at first. You could visibly see that the O3 air unit was not level. The next consideration is the O3 air unit has to sit 1.575 millimeters above the bottom of this plate. Inside of this hole, there's a 1.575 millimeter aluminum insert, which is used to conduct the heat away from the O3 air unit and out to the outside. So the distance between the bottom part that protrudes of the O3 air unit and the bottom of this plate has to be 1.575 millimeters. And that way there, the bottom of the insert, of the aluminum insert, is flush with the bottom of this plate. And that is it. So let's finish off looking at the cam file now. First comes the perimeter for the arm jig. Next comes the mounting holes for the O3 air unit, and they are just a plunge. The next is the holes for the arm mounts. The center part is cleared out, and then the slots and center hole are cut. So like I was explaining about the protruding part of the O3 air unit at the bottom, so you'll see that these standoffs are cut in this particular way to allow room for that bottom part to protrude. And it really is the only way that you're going to fit to mount this thing down properly using screws. I could have just used thermal tape, but I really wanted protection for this. The whole purpose, the DJI O3 air unit is the most expensive part of this drone, and it needs to be as protected as possible. Okay, next is the cutouts for the battery straps and the aluminum insert. Okay, after that, these posts, the standoff posts, are milled down to the exact height that they need to be so that the contingencies are met that I just talked about. And then the last thing is the outer contour is cut. So then we have a note to say attach the arm jig and to stop. I was using double-sided tape to hold the arm jig down, but I think honestly when you pull it back off it does bad things to the spoil board and to the bottom of the arm jig, so I think you're better, if you want to use this thing over a number of period of times, is to use screws to hold it down. So then once it's installed, then it cuts the arms, and so these arms are all cut to the exact right length. And then the last thing it does is it drills out the arm mount holes. That is it. So let's get on with cutting this and make the bottom plate and arms a reality. Okay, let us just start by putting the arms into this jig, because this is work just by itself. There's that one. That is so tight. That's 2. That's 3. Whew. Okay. They are snug. The arms are ready to go. Okay, let's start by loading the file. Home. So let's get our carbon fiber on there. Get some double-sided tape. Okay. Avoid bubbles. There's 1. And there's 2. So where we're going to want this to set is going to be like about here. All right. That's close enough. Okay. Y continuous. X continuous. Now, just use this as a guide. You want it in the middle. Y, X. I think that's good there. So, home, X, Y, home. So here, Go to trace, set XY home. Now we have to do Z home. First of all though, let's just check the tool table. Yeah, these need to be zeroed. And okay. Tool 1. Height offset 0. Okay. Z step. That's it, right there. Now here, gauge block, height. We need to set this for tool 1. Okay. Now we're on tool 1. Now zero this. Program. Correct. AccuPro 2mm long reach. Workhoma's plate center. Spoil board 11mm thick. And there's your tool change. So start. Oh wait. You have to set this back to height offset 1. Now we're good. Okay, now we have to put the pins. So over here, press remember position, and you can move this out of the way. Y, tenuous. And we can just leave the spindle running for now. Let's go ahead and pin these. Okay. Now you restore position. Okay. Now you may start again. Time to install the arm jig. Alright, got the arm jig on, the arms. Now we return to the position we were at before. And then we can start. Okay, now we have a tool change to the 3mm drill bit. So you don't have to remember positions on tool changes. Y, continuous. Oops, wrong way. Let's take the flat end mill out. Oh yeah. Now we need a 3mm ER20, call it. Okay, and these are my brand new solid carbide drill bits. Okay, now Z, 10 US, 10, 20, Z, step 1, actually that's fine. That's fine right there. So now change this to tool to offset 2. Change this to tool 2. Come into your offsets. 0 this. And then raise this. Continuous. Release that high. Bring it back a little just for fun. It was somewhere there. And then we're good to start. Okay, here we have the finished bottom plate. It really does do a nice job. And any residue from the double-sided tape comes off really easily with IPA. The arms, as you can see, the holes are milled perfectly in the middle. My only issue with the arms is a couple of them have a bit of color loss from how tight the jig was. They all have a bit of marking on this end, but that's going to be covered over by the motor mount. There's a bit of a mark there. So I could loosen the jig just a little bit more, and then it would be perfect. It's a very fine line because when you get from one batch of carbon fiber tube to another, and once you go too far past, then it's not going to be better, it's just going to be worse and loose. Okay, so that is it for this installment. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like the videos, then I'd appreciate it if you could give a thumbs up. Next time we're going to work on the aluminum parts. So that's a whole different beast altogether. Okay, and remember, if you have dreams of flying, let's make them a reality. Bye for now.